So after 6.8% in April, 7.7% in May, we have June's inflation rate up to 8.1%. Doesn't seem to have any end in sight. A lot of consequences. To help us make sense, if there's any sense to be made of all this, is MOSHE Lander, Senior Lecturer, Department of Economics at Concordia University. Welcome back to the show, Moshe.
I am here to bring sense, and I will make sense.
Please,
so let's do
please
this.
begin. Please begin.
Sure. Where would you like me to start?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so it was kind of, for me, it was kind of an as expected because we saw the June numbers in the U.S. last week. So it was kind of, it was going to be surprising if our inflation was going down. But what would you say for now is the base of this inflation? Because this is a composite of a lot of different factors. So what's going up most? Is it still gas and food? Why are these prices going up? One, and two, what's the cause?
Yeah, so you nailed it. It's gasoline and it's food, energy, I guess, in more general terms. But
yeah, okay.
In Quebec, right, we're mostly powered by hydro, not powered by natural gas or heating oil for our homes. So. For us in particular, it's going to be the gasoline component and it's the food component. And interestingly, if you take out those two components and calculate inflation, it was only about 5.5%. So it's still high, but it's not as bad as we think. And at least we know what the engines are of the current situation we're in.
Is there any solace to be found in the fact that the April to May increase was much bigger than the May to June increase?
I think at this point we should take solace in anything that we can find, right? Yeah, why not? The thing I think that Canadians are confused by is that last week the news cycle item was the 1 percentage point increase in interest rates meant to address inflation. And here we are a week later, we get a report that says inflation has even gone up. So I think the important thing to understand is that when the Bank of Canada increases interest rates, generally speaking, it takes about 12 months for it to be fully felt through the economy. So if we go back to when the Bank of Canada started increasing interest rates, it started off with that baby 25 basis point increase in February.
Right.
So we're not even 6 months past that. We shouldn't be seeing that interest rate is having any effect. And the big increases last week and last month, those aren't going to be felt for another 6 to 12 months still. So we're going to be riding this inflation roller coaster for at least the better part of 23.
Okay, so you're expecting inflation rates at this level for at least another year?
No. So I'm not going to say that we're going to be talking every month about 8 point something, 7 point something. It will start to drift down as those early interest rate increases start to work their way into the economy, right? So again, we only started with the interest rate increases in February, and we're only in July. So 5 months have passed. That one's going to start to slowly eat away. And then the ones that came after it, which were 50 basis points, 75 and 100, those are the ones that are really going to start to kick in, but give it a little bit of time. The Governor of the Bank of Canada said last week in a speech that we can expect to see 3% inflation by the end of next year and 2% inflation, which is what we've gotten used to over the last 30 years, by the beginning of 24. So there's a timeline then for this thing to probably crest soon, if this is not the cresting number, and then it's going to slowly drift back down in the absence of any shocking global events.
Speaking with Moshe Lander of Concordia University, when you say something like that, Moshe, I remember at the end of 2021 and early 2022, the governor of the Bank of Canada and a lot of experts around the world, top economists, were saying, oh, this will be temporary, this will simmer down. So you kind of, I hope you understand my skepticism when I hear, because all the governments were projecting 2-3% inflation by now. And now we're at 8%. So you understand, and that even gave Pierre Poilievre munitions to say the things he said. But you know what I'm saying here? I mean, what can we base this analysis on that says, okay, inflation will start coming down gradually?
So the inflation is coming from two different sources. The supply side of the economy, right? Whenever we talk about supply chain issues, the Russians turning off the taps in Europe and global disasters through climate change and things like that. No amount of interest rate increases are going to eliminate that inflationary aspect of the economy, right? So, when the Bank of Canada is trying to forecast where they think inflation is going at whatever point in time, they can't be building into their models unforeseen wars or unforeseen environmental catastrophes, right? Of course. So when they were talking last year that this will be temporary, what they were looking at was the demand side of the economy, right? Okay. Overheating housing markets, overheating stock markets, consumer debt levels that were reaching alarming rates. And the Bank of Canada has a long history that when those things become a real concern, they increase interest rates. They know how that affects the demand side of the economy, and that's the starch that they can take out easiest. So when they're talking about, hey, we see a return to normal by the end of 23, what they're doing is they're saying, we know what these interest rates are going to do to consumer spending, business spending, government deficits. We got that stuff under control. We just can't forecast those supply side things. And even if we could forecast them, there's not a lot that the Bank of Canada can do. Interest rate increases are not going to stop Russian adventurism in Ukraine, no matter how high you drive it, right? So, of course, it's that type of thing that when they say it's a forecast, it's a prediction, and that's all they can do. It's based on some semblance of normalcy returning to the world.
Okay. So, Moshe, does this inflation rate increase mean that the Bank of Canada will look at another big interest rate hike?
Yes, but I would have said that even if we didn't have this number.
Okay.
So let's not draw the causality that because this number is big. The Bank of Canada had probably at least another full percentage point increase coming our way before the end of the year. Now, whether they portion that out as 425 increases or 250 increases or one big 100 increase at their next meeting, that's going to be partly influenced by what they see with these numbers. But I think that Canadians, Montrealers, at least got to expect that there's another 1 percentage point coming somewhere in the next 5 months. It's just how they want to play that out. And again, if there's unforeseen events that happen, hey, it could be more than 1 percentage point. But I think 1 percentage point is a good starting guess.
Well, Moshe, you were right. You made a lot of sense.
Awesome. Then on that, you can send me off into the sunset.
Thank you so much. Always appreciate you having on the show.
Anytime.
All right. Take care. Moshe Lander is a senior lecturer, Department of Economics at Concordia University.